Hello, you're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. Just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
Yeah, I think we've always done things like these for fun.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you. We've sort of talked about this in the past outside of this podcast, but I started daydreaming stories when I was I want to say 12 or 13, and I've been doing very actively ever since.
No idea when I started, but the amount of characters in my head is laughable. Like, there are so many characters, so many stories, and I'd need to write a book someday.
Maybe we'll find people to actually buy it. I just know that for me, I make stories, and then over the years I rewrite them because I'll be like, oh, with a new, mature or different perspective, I just rewrite it and completely change it. I don't remember my old editions. I remember my
Oh, yeah.
newer ones I've made recently.
So many different iterations of the same story. It's kind of hard to keep track of. And then you're like, wait, no, this is the good version.
I think at one point I did a just alternate universe kind of thing, like a Marvel comic.
Nice.
Where it's just like, oh, I changed this one thing and then I just based off of that and I just branched off and thought of a story for that. I don't remember the old branch.
Nice. No, it's fun to come up with new ideas.
Yeah. So we've always been doing this naturally, and that's why we decided to make a podcast of it.
And it started out from basically just us having conversations and bouncing ideas back and forth. We're like, we could make this a podcast.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about this. I have a whole story about the creation of this podcast. We might do that at the 1 year anniversary or something like that.
There we go. A whole reminiscence episode.
We're halfway there, so we'll deal with that later. For now, let's find out what quest we're doing. You got dice?
Oh, I got him. I got 39.
Did we do 39 before?
Have we?
No, we have not.
Ooh,
We were one away from a previous one,
nice.
and this one is short. At the time of this recording, I am currently editing because, oh, spoiler, we do batches. Uh,
What?
I'm currently editing our party starter episode, We Happy Maryville. Check that out if you want. But this one says the well water has started tasting funny. Someone should look into that. And that just made me think of the villagers who drank the demon water and then
Oh my
started getting all
god.
we happy few joy pills.
Oh no. This is probably just posted in the tavern in Maryville.
No, because they didn't question it because they were happy, remember?
Yeah, true. They didn't question it. Everything is fine.
Yes.
Oh, that's
It's just
funny.
so ironic that
What are the odds?
this is the recording session after we did the recording session that involved that, and I'm currently editing it.
Right?
Okay, so we need to think of something new. But I do like the short ones like these because it can mean
Yeah.
anything.
I have an idea,
Okay,
which would make this a really early on quest.
that's
Oh, maybe
fine.
not. I don't know. It may or may not bring back some PTSD from for a couple of our listeners who were actually in that campaign with me. Gelatinous cylinder.
Oh, you told me about that story.
Yeah. It's a gelatinous cube that lives in a well, so it has taken on the shape of the well, which is a cylinder.
So they're drinking gelatinous ooze?
I mean, that could be seeping into it, yes. Or we could go with a completely different route and not go with nightmare-inducing
Well,
cylinder. Kill your friends.
I'm fine with that thought, but the problem is, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. Is if we do that, then they look down, they notice the gel, they fight the gel, quest over, done.
I know. It's a super simple, quick and easy, next podcast type of, just
Yeah, and
on to the next
so
one. Okay, let's make it more interesting. Also, I feel like that's in an actual module and wasn't just made up by our DM.
maybe we could easily do it. They
Okay.
don't have the rights to a gelatinous cube or cylinder being in a well. I don't think you could copyright that.
Eh, something like I don't know. But that is a really easy one and done,
Yeah.
poke it till it's dead type of situation. Unless it eats two of your party members.
Well, don't get caught. That's my advice.
Yep, yeah, don't try to reach in and pull your friend out of the gelatinous cube if you don't have the strength to get yourself out of the gelatinous cube.
I think this quest is a perfect opportunity for your well cave because I'm editing that episode.
The well cave, huh? You wanna bring this in?
Well, one, I shot you down on that episode because it didn't really make sense for the moment.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know about it is because, again, I'm editing it right now, so I'm aware of it. Do you want to go that approach?
I mean, it could lead to an entire cave system, and something has taken up residence in there, which is causing the water to taste kinda funky.
Well, the thing is, like, the water tasting funny doesn't have to, like, the water doesn't have to do anything to the villagers. It's just the small catalyst that leads them to something.
Yeah, it might just be because there's an ogre washing his socks in the water.
Yeah, or just like up the river in the cave kind of thing. If we're going that approach, there could be just
Right.
a dead body up there, and that causes a whole investigation.
Gross.
But this being very simple could lead to just anything we want.
Would you want to take this out of Dungeons& and Dragons and make it a more modern setting?
Ooh, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Monster of the Week.
So, what are you thinking? Like a kind of monster that affects well water?
If we go with Monster of the Week, we can pretty much fashion any kind of monster we want to at that point. It can be whatever you want it to be, uh, like mythological monster. It could be a cryptid, which are usually fun to play with.
Well, the last time we did a monster of the week, or Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah,
We made our own monster. I thought that was pretty fun.
right.
So if you want to do monster of the week, why don't we just try to make up our own monster?
Or, sorry, Kelpies just came to mind, and it could be like a displaced Kelpie that's just stuck in the well.
What's a kelpie?
Um, okay, give me a minute. I remember roughly the name, not necessarily exactly what it is. I think they're cool though.
I have no idea what that is. It sounds like just a seaweed.
Okay, apparently also it's a type of dog.
You put a dog in the well?
Okay, in Scottish folklore, a kelpie is a dangerous shape-shifting water creature that can appear on land as a horse. The kelpie appears to the human victims as a gray or white horse, entices them to ride on their back, then carries them down to a watery grave.
That's dark.
Yeah, no, if you hop on a kelpie's back, you are drowned. Like, it will ride you out into typically the ocean or the nearest body of water and drown you.
Hmm. But again, if we just say that, then mission done or quest done.
Kinda sorta, but you gotta find the kelpie first. Maybe it's really good at hiding
Okay,
and
but what would cause a horse that drowns people? Like, are you saying the horse convinces people to get on and then it jumps into the well and that's what's causing the well to taste funny?
yeah, like, they go down there and they find a body, and that's what's making the well taste funny, so now they gotta figure out how die.
Then that would just look like a murder thing. Like, it could just look like a murder crime scene. Someone was just disposing a body.
Yeah, but they find horsehair.
Does it leave behind horsehair? I thought it was just taking the form of like, it's just like,
It could leave behind horsehair as a clue in our story.
you know what? You are actually the expert because I've never heard of this thing before though. Now, so
Let me see.
I if we're gonna go Kelpie, you have to do most of the talking because I have no idea about this creature.
Apparently, it can also take human form, but keeps its hooves.
That would look weird.
Apparently, the most extensively reported sightings of kelpies is in Loch Ness.
That kind of makes sense. That place is already weird.
I know, right?
Or they're all high and they're seeing crap.
Can either take the form of a horse. This one says black. I'm looking at a different source now. Horse-like creature, and all the pictures I've seen of them are horses that look like they are just drenched and dripping. Or take the form of a human, but still has horse hooves on its feet.
What about its hands?
Their hands, apparently.
But horses don't have hands.
I don't. This just says
Why can't it generate hands just fine, but it's having trouble with feet, so then it has to stay with the hooves?
you know how some artists have trouble drawing feet, but hands are fine. Maybe they just have issues with feet.
Or maybe they belong to a very specific kink.
All it says is it retains its hooves when appearing as a human. So it might also have hooves for hands as well. Did I say hooves or hands when I said it retains its? Anyway,
Retains its hooves.
it retains its hooves when appearing as human. So it might still have hooves as hands.
So
We
yeah,
could
that
do
actually
that.
does imply that it has hooves for hands and feet.
So maybe when the party is walking around town, they might see someone who has really long sleeves and like a really long skirt or something covering their feet, and Be like, oh, hey, that person just likes to cover up a lot, but they have really loud shoes.
Make it in the 70s and the the woman is wearing bell bomb jeans.
There you go.
That covers practically the entire shoe.
And maybe like a hand muffler of some sort if it's cold out to hide the hooves. You know, those like tubes of fur that you put your hands in.
Again, if we're going this route, I do not know, so you have to take the reins.
Oh, come on. This one's just human fashion.
I'm also don't know fashion.
It's literally a cylinder of like fur or a warm sweater like material that you put your hands in to keep them warm.
Tiffany, I am a guy who wears jeans and t-shirt every day,
And I am a girl who wears jeans and a t shirt every day.
but you are more crafty and you actually know about fashion.
That's true. I do like to sew.
I don't do
Fine.
anything close to that.
Anyway, so back in days before gloves were more popular, that's what they would do to keep their hands warm. It's easier to sew a cylinder than it is a glove.
You know what? We're making this the episode where Tiffany's in charge.
Yay!
Go
I
for
was
it.
just coming up with ideas. It could be a Kelpie. It could be anything. It's the well tastes funny.
No, it sounds like it's gonna be a Kelpie, so you're in charge and I'm gonna be asking questions. That's it.
Well, if you have any ideas, feel free to jump in.
I don't know, because I didn't really have any ideas to begin with.
So, okay. If they inspect down in the well, they find a body. The body has maybe there's something about the facial expression on it. Maybe it's stuck in a look of fear or something like that. Or I mean, like what sort
So,
of
do you want to say
mm,
what should be the initial death? Is it gonna be from horse or horse girl? Which form it would be in for this death specifically?
this death specifically, I would say horse. But then the Kelpie eventually adopts the horse girl form. Wow, this is starting to get a little weird. To try to lure people in, I guess.
I mean, if you don't want to say horse girl, you could say hybrid, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the hybrid form, that also works. But, like, typically, the way they get people is they look like a really fun horse to ride, and you hop on.
That's very wet.
Yeah, very wet and drippy, and sometimes its mane and tail are made out of kelp as well. But there's just something about it, maybe it's magic or something, that just makes you wanna hop on and go for a ride, and you just have the best time of your life riding this thing until you drown.
Okay, so wouldn't that mean that the guy wouldn't be surprised? Have a surprised face?
Maybe it's a happy face.
Now we're going back to We Happy Few.
Yes, but it's a happy death face, so it's more like, the Joker. Stuck with the Joker smile.
You want to know how I got these scars? I've always been like, I'm curious why, like, how would anyone be enticed to ride a wet horse that just out of nowhere? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like since this is happening in a well and not a really cool, like, body of water nearby town, it's probably a town that's not near any large bodies of water.
Maybe like the Irish Highlands, maybe?
Yeah, could be.
That's close enough to sort of Loch Ness Monster area.
Mhm.
I said close enough. I know it's not Loch Ness is not in Ireland,
Yes, we've determined this is a Scottish creature.
but I thought maybe the Highlands not being close to like the shores or anything like that.
Right, so this is landlocked town.
Yeah, small town, small village, possibly.
Yeah, no large bodies of water, just, a really good well.
Do you think the group will find out about this in like a newspaper article about it?
Maybe it might start with well, okay. Let's see. The well water started tasting funny. Someone should look into that. It could be like I don't know, like a column in a newspaper or something. That'd be a good place to find it. Or maybe in town hall, there's literally just a bulletin board and someone stuck that up there.
Yeah, but then what causes the group to want to go to this small town? Because if this is the only thing that happens in the town, unless the entire campaign takes place in that small town.
It could be where they start.
Oh, you're saying this is like beginning adventure.
It could be.
Are we doing another party starter?
Or it could just be happen to be that they were already in that town, or something else brought them to town. And you can just throw this in as a little side quest that if they see that posting, then Kelpie hunt.
Well, to be fair, I consider every episode of Quest Board to be a side quest.
Well, yes, that is the whole concept of this is you can just usually throw these in somewhere. So it doesn't necessarily matter how they got to town. What matters is they're in the town. They see this quest.
Okay, like on community board.
Yeah. Or it could be in like a column of the newspaper or something. However method you want to deliver it to your party.
How big is this village?
Hmm.
Because I don't know exactly like how big of a size it'll be. Because I, based off like the thing of just like, oh well, the well water started tasting funny. Someone should check this. It sounds like it's like a village small enough to only need one well.
I was just thinking that it does sound like a one well town.
But then I don't know exactly population numbers that would require only one well, like 500 people.
Let's ask Google.
We do have the technology, yes.
Well, I literally typed in population numbers that only need one well, and I'm getting how to determine population survey sample size. I'm like, Google, no, just tell me how many people are in a small town.
You see, there's the downside of the internet. Sometimes it overcomplicates things.
So, a small town is defined by the US Census Bureau as having a population between 25,000 and 50,000 residents.
Yeah, but I feel like those people require more than one well.
Okay, let me change
I
town
think,
to
I don't know.
village. Ah, a village is different. Village, defined as having between 500 and 2,500 inhabitants.
Okay, that's closer on the numbers. I
Yeah.
think is correct.
So somewhere around that, they only have one well. It tastes funky. And it wasn't before. Because having grown up on well water, that stuff slaps. It is so good.
I had a roommate in college who was a water bougie kind of guy because he would talk about how he grew up or yeah, he grew up with well water and then having to deal with pumped water.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, water's water, man. Just drink
It's
it.
not it's not the same. I am such a water snob having grown up on well water because like I said, it is so good. And if you try anything else, it's not the same.
You know what? Stay depressed. I'm here just drinking my water.
What I'm getting at is people who drink well water will notice when it changes, which
Okay.
brings some validity to this post.
Okay. Back on track. How are the party how is the party gonna get more clues then? Is it gonna be like
Um,
multiple murders? Or are we doing like just one murder and then the party just finds out? Or it has to be a string of murder just to give more clues?
I feel like it needs to be a string of murders. And maybe they find more than one body down in the well. And that's what really starts an investigation because one person falling down a well, yeah, they fell down the well. Two people falling down a well, how often does that happen?
So do you think the townspeople would know about it?
They would definitely know about it. They would definitely realize someone was missing.
So is it going to be like a situation where the party will try to find the killer while everyone else thinks that it's a serial killer, murderer? And
Yes.
so
I
then
feel
there'll
like,
be like night watches or anything like that.
oh, definitely night watches.
What happens if the party gets blamed?
Ooh. Well, supposedly these, missing people or murder instances happened before the party got to town. It was long enough for someone to post something either on a board somewhere or in the newspaper.
Okay. How are the parties like? What are the clues that they're gonna find?
Well, first things they're going to find is a couple of dead bodies in the well. They might find large pieces of kelp, maybe. Maybe the person has that in their hands, like they were holding on to the mane of the kelpie as they were writing it, and that part just ripped off because the hands didn't let go.
Okay.
So why would a dead body have kelp in its hands in a well in a landlocked town? Eh?
And when you say kelp, you're actually talking about like that like seaweed looking thing, right?
Kelp is seaweed, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's like because you did talk before about like having horse hair as a clue.
I did. That would be, like, on their clothes. I'm like, "No, they're in water, that would wash off." Like, the body is horsey, but the mane and tail are kinda kelp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is why you're in charge of this episode because I have no idea.
Just look up.
I don't want my audio to be filled with key typing because I have a mechanical keyboard.
Right, yes, those things.
Yes.
So, most pictures depict them as mostly horse-looking. Some of them look more like a hippocampus, which is a horse with a fishtail. They're usually wet-looking with either horse mane and tail or kelp mane and tail.
Okay, so is this investigation gonna happen while a manhunt is going down? So is there gonna be like more people dying during the investigation?
Probably. If they don't find it fast enough, you can totally throw in another death just to spur them on.
But okay, so what are the besides the kelp and just being questionable about like the uniqueness of the death, how would the party like get clues to where to find it?
Mm,
You know what I mean?
good point. Maybe they also start hearing some rumors around town about someone's horse that got out. Like, just in passing, they'll hear, like, oh, I think so and so's horse got out the other day. I saw it running around town.
And they weren't entranced by it?
Maybe it was working on someone else. 'Cause it could be, like, it chooses its victims. Maybe during the day, it walks around as a woman and picks its victim, and then at night, it comes to them as a horse and then kills them.
You hear that, guys? Be careful who you catcall during the daytime.
Definitely don't catcall, it is rude. I've been catcalled, it was not fun.
So a rumor going around about a horse?
Yeah, they think someone's horse got out because this person just so happens to have a dark colored horse. But if they go investigate that at all and talk to the person who supposedly owns this horse, is like, no, Bessie's been in her stable all night, just a good little horsey.
But then what would cause the party to see the murders down the well and seeing kelp and think horse? Or and then hearing a rumor about the horse, how would they make that connection? You know what I mean?
Good point. I mean, if any of them know what a kelpie is, they'll latch on to that pretty quick.
Yes, but I think the we've said over and over, always treat your party like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of that connection. They could also just so happen to see the Kelpie in human form around town and, make a mental note about how loud those footsteps are. Oh my, her high heels must be insane.
Okay, you could put the hybrid version, whatever we want to call it.
Mhm.
You could put the hybrid version as one of the onlookers when the bodies are discovered.
Sure. Yeah. It would definitely be a good, like, she's watching them find her prey.
And I think that could be one of the clues that shows up when if players roll for investigative mystery because we're doing monster of the week.
Yeah.
Because I think possibly one of the holds could ask like, is there something that I'm missing or like something I haven't discovered yet?
Yeah. Apparently they also have big teeth, like really sharp teeth, fangs even.
In the woman form or hybrid form?
I think that's only in the horse form.
Okay,
So maybe the bodies could have chunks missing, like something was eating them.
but then I thought it wanted to kill them by it entices them to ride and then just jumping down into a well and drowning them.
Yes.
I thought that was
Why
the way to do
but
it.
why does it do that? That's how it kills, yes. But why is it killing them? Dinner. Maybe it likes the taste of decaying body or it likes fresh meat maybe, which is why it keeps killing new because once they start decaying a little bit, then it's just like, "Oh, I don't want this anymore." So maybe what they're tasting in the water is, a little bit of blood. Maybe it's tasting like more irony.
Or just like bloated meat. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they do like bloated meat.
Okay, so what if the final fight is like a kelpie that's like has someone on its back riding? So then the group has to stop it
Yeah.
from getting into the well?
It would be even more interesting if it was actually someone from the group. It lures one of them.
Well, I wouldn't want to take away the agency from a player.
Well, you could give them the ability to resist.
Well, if this is in Monster of the Week, I don't know how you give them the ability to resist.
Yeah, I don't know how all the rules work on that.
Well, it's like charm person, manipulate someone, tough, kick some A, investigate mystery, helping out, stuff like that. There's not really like quote unquote resistances.
I mean, you could roll for tough. You're toughing it out.
I don't know. You could do that.
You could do it that way, or you could do it where it's got someone else from town, maybe someone they met and had been talking to. Maybe the Kelpie is trying to frame them.
Possibly.
That would be a good tactic if it's being investigated, frame the
Are they
investigators.
notoriously like smart or anything like that?
I mean, they know enough to entice people and drown them.
Well, if it's just magically enticing,
Yeah.
and it's just it could be just a pick random targets
Mhm.
just to eat or anything like that.
Hmm.
I really don't know them that well.
Well, I'd have to read through this entire wall of text on the Wikipedia article to figure out how smart they are. They have, shape-shifting abilities.
Could we just say that they're just instinctual and they just want to feed?
Probably a good idea. So apparently, the way to catch one is when you see it in its horse form, you put a halter on it stamped with the sign of a cross, and then it's yours. They're very strong, they're good like workhorses. So that could be like a method if the party like reads up on kelpies and stuff. If they can find a halter with a cross stamped on it or make one themselves, then they could use that to catch it.
And then you gave the party a mythical horse.
Yeah, that would be an issue, but it would just be a really strong horse. It wouldn't really do much else. I mean, I guess it can bite.
And drown people.
True.
Okay. I think if we just think of one or two more clues, then we could possibly wrap this up.
Okay.
Because if the final fight being, uh, latest victim is about to be round off and drowned, they need to stop it.
I could see wet hoof prints around town, leading to certain strategic places, maybe lead them to an area where they suddenly see
What does a wet hoof print look like
like, a regular hoof print, but made out of water.
that stays throughout the day?
Yes.
Oh wait, are you thinking about like dirt roads where it's just like mud, like imprints of hooves,
That too. I was thinking cobblestones with just like,
magically wet like horseshoe shape that stays?
yeah, but it's recent is what I'm saying. Yeah, it could be a
Uh,
thing.
I really don't know. This one's kind of hard.
Yeah, I made it hard by picking something that you're not familiar with. I thought everyone knew about random cryptids because I love random cryptids.
That's not exactly my forte. I do know some, but I don't really look into them.
Oh, hey, silver bullets work on it too.
Oh, Better Call Van Helsing then.
And when it dies, if you dissect it, it consists of nothing more than turf and a soft mass like jellyfish.
What if during nighttime, if this is like cobblestone streets, there's a chance the party will hear just distant hoof prints? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not like it'll be different because let's say that all the horses in the village they actually get horseshoes, but since this one is not an actual horse that gets horseshoes, it's actual hooves like clobbling and on the stone.
If they roll well enough, their character can tell the difference.
Again, this is Monster of Week. Oh,
Yeah, they can roll well enough for an investigation moment.
yeah, but investigations is usually holds where they ask the keeper specific questions.
Gotcha.
It's not like I rolled a nat 20. They do have a critical success, but a critical success is just them getting to ask more questions
Right. Okay.
from a list.
So they hear hoof prints. If they get to ask more questions, they can always ask, did it have shoes or not?
Or that could just be encumbrance on one thing. It's like you hear like a horse walking down the street, but it sounds odd because you don't hear the clanging of the metal of horseshoes.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then that could like causes them to possibly get glimpses of it or anything like that.
Mhm.
So like if it roams at night,
Yeah.
do you want to just drop the whole like it roams around as the woman hybrid during the daytime and just have it be like a night stalker just to give meals?
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to have the woman side.
Yeah, because then it'll be better for the instinctual, just needs to feed kind of approach we're doing.
Yeah. All right. So, always a horse. During the day, hangs out in the well with the dead body. Well, no, because then they would find it if they went down the well.
Does it normally stay in water?
Typically, yeah. Well, earlier you did say we could make the well lead to an entire cave system, so.
Oh, now we're gonna do that.
Hey, you said I could. Yeah, they usually inhabit locks.
Maybe it's a really deep well,
Okay.
and the bodies float on top.
Yeah.
And so all they're gonna do is just just grab the bodies, right? They're not gonna go deeper.
Right.
They'll just think that they fell down, and so they'll just recover the bodies.
But then they find the bite marks in 'em.
Yeah, but then they're gonna assume the bite marks are from the surface of whoever killed them.
Right. They're not gonna think to go deeper into the well.
Yes, exactly. There we go. We solved that issue.
Okay. So it's hanging out down at the bottom of the well. So if they want to find it during the day, they're gonna have to do a little scuba diving. So their best option is to find it at night when it's on the prowl.
Oh, how about like there only being one body because it will just bring someone down and bob on there and it will eat the body until it's done and then that's when it goes up. So then them causing them to bring the body up means that it has to go out and actually get more food.
Okay, I like that. So it kind of just keeps it in there to nibble on.
Yeah, to snack on until it's out, then it has to get another one.
Right. Okay, I like that. So one body, it's been nibbled on a bit.
Just enough for the taste to be funny.
Right. What if a like a circus or something like that had recently come to town and they had ads for a marvelous wonder that no one had ever seen, but then those ads suddenly went away and it was just a regular surface circus because the Kelpie escaped. So that's how it got to town. That's why it's only just now starting to kill people and why there's a Kelpie in a well and not a big lake.
Or you could have it where the circus just left and the party didn't know about it. And then
I was
they
thinking the circus could be a good place for them to get a hold of the
yeah, but
Halter
it's
Frost
like
Summit.
if they found out about that, then they could hunt down the circus to get the answer or
True.
something like
Yeah.
that.
It's like the circus could even literally have had posters about the mystical magical Kelpie,
Yeah,
but
that guy. It's like when sideshows do the unicorns.
yeah.
But
So that could be like a last straw if your party is not figuring this out at all, have this poster blow in the wind in front of them or something like that.
and if I feel like the circus, if the circus is like just left or something like that before the party shows up, because if they were there, they would still search. I feel like they would still search. So them leaving is a sign of they gave up on trying to find it.
Yeah, probably. Like, "Oh, man, it's just gone. We should get out of here."
But then, how did they quote unquote tame it in the first place?
They put the halter on it in horse form.
But then, how did the horse get out of that? Is there a way, like in the lore, is that a thing?
If you take it off.
Why would they ever take it off?
Maybe it was someone who didn't know that's what was keeping it.
Oh, interns.
Yeah,
They're so stupid.
exactly. Yeah, it's talking about how one folktale describes how the Laird of Morphy captured a Kelpie and used it to carry stones to build his castle. Once the work was complete, the Laird released the Kelpie, which was evidently unhappy about its treatment and then cursed him.
So, if they hunt down the circus, then there's a chance that they could get the harness themselves.
Hmm.
Okay. And then they'll have a horse.
Yeah, and it's really strong, so it's good for pulling things. It's not anything like extra magical, but they just gotta feed it meat instead of uh, you know, horse
They get
food.
to build a castle now.
If they wanna.
Okay.
But just know, if the bridle is ever removed, or if it ever escapes, it will try to kill them probably.
Maybe, yeah, probably. I think we got it all. How about you do the recap because this is your episode, and then we'll wrap up the episode.
Alright, so, well tastes nasty. Like, I can just imagine that'd be bad. During an investigation, they pull up a body. The body's had some nibbles taken out of it. Then they start investigating around town. They learn that the body had some kelp clutched in its hands. They find possibly wet hoof prints or muddy hoof prints around town. At one point, if they're out at night, they hear hoof prints that are not like don't have shoes or unshod, shall we say? Am I missing anything?
People sing it thinking that it was a certain person's horse.
That, and also, if all else fails, the flyer for the circus. And if they go and talk to the circus, they're like, yeah, that got out. So if they then try to capture the Kelpie, they can have a really cool horse, or they can shoot it with silver bullets, which in this sort of campaign they probably would have some of.
Also, their their confrontation of it, the horse has its next victim on its back that's trying to go and drown
Yeah,
to be more tense.
just to make it a sense of urgency. Something's going down. And it most likely will be someone they've talked to in town, just to make it that much more personal.
Yeah, maybe the mayor or something.
Yeah,
Okay. That wraps up that quest.
cool.
Let us know what you think about it if you put in your campaign or anything like that. Or if you have a quest posting of your own that you want us to possibly just do a folklore about, let us know on Twitter at QuestBoardPod. I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.